I needed a new roommate quickly, and eventually settled on this chick from Florida who was moving out to San Diego. She initially came off as a little goofy and naive over the phone, but in person, she was just strange. She had no sense for personal boundaries, would eat all my food, use my laptop in my room when I wasn't home, to go on plentyoffish.com, and would barge into my room when I had friends over to say the weirdest shit, all in the first week. She did and said a ton of weird things in the month she lived with me. She started hanging out with a co-worker from Subway, along with her co-worker's BF, who just got out of jail, and 4 of his friends. They really only came around because she would buy stuff, and they laughed at the dumb shit she would do and say. She would always leave the window cracked because she lost her keys a lot and would talk about how she did that all the time. Anyway, her friends broke into the house, stole my TV, my laptop, the smaller TV I had in my room, this wedding dress my aunt wanted to sell on eBay for her, a bunch of DVDs, and my prescription glasses. I called her freaking out, and she said she had called the cops on me because her broken laptop got stolen and suggested I took all my stuff out of the app to steal her crappy broken laptop. Cops came and pulled me aside and told me she seemed unstable and suggested I don't use Craigslist for roommates anymore. I had her backed against the wall and was screaming at her with my finger in her face when the cops walked in. I thought I was screwed when they saw that, but after talking to her for 5 minutes, they seemed to understand my frustration with her. The cops just took down what was stolen, and I took her key away and put her 1 box of crap outside the apartment. I eventually got my stuff back on my own because I made up some bullshit about having hidden cameras and I wouldn't show them to the cops if I got all my stuff back. Somehow that worked. I sold the guy some headphones on Craigslist. I had my boyfriend do the exchange because it was on his way somewhere. The guy who bought the headphones freaked out because he was expecting a female to do the exchange. He emailed me for days about betrayal of the agreement between buyer and seller because I didn't show up and be all female at him and shit. He sent me his home address because I could make this right by stopping by and settling this. Eventually, I threatened to call the cops and blocked him. No idea what he would have done if I had showed up in the first place, but I'm super fucking glad I didn't. Boyfriend said he appeared normal, if squirrely. Pretty sure I would be in a basement somewhere with Squirrely adding me to his human millipede. An ex of mine listed a private picture of me on the adult section with my phone number. Found out by getting an insane amount of disgusting texts and calls at 4 a.m. The picture was not scandalous, just well-covering lingerie, but my face was in it. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something about wanting big black dick. I already had a restraining order, but had to go to the police station to report it. They couldn't even prosecute because although I knew who it was, I could not prove it. I got it pulled down by asking close friends to report it to Craigslist. Ended up changing my number because after 3 days I was still getting messaged. Nightmare. Felt so violating. Anyone who does that to a girl is a disgusting human being. Want to hear more scary Craigslist stories? Well, don't worry because I've got a few more in the bag. While I have you, make sure you've subscribed to the channel for more content like this. Now let's get back to it. My tenant gave me notice, so I decided to move in the house myself but find a roommate. I posted on CL with photos and a move-in date at the end of the month. A woman emails with questions and says she wants to see the place first, and I agree we can arrange that, giving her my name, the address, and a time to meet when appropriate. The tenant calls me the very next day to say he woke up at 7 a.m. to find a woman standing in his bedroom staring at him. It's a small town and locking doors is not always the norm. He doesn't know how long she was there, but apparently she walked in and wandered around before finding him in the bed. She told him she was moving in and that this was her bedroom now, so she wanted to see if her stuff would fit. When I confronted her about doing this, she said I promised her the room and that made it okay to just barge in and check it out. She was an older woman, clearly mental. Needless to say, I did not select her as my new roommate. My brother is fond of using Craigslist to find good electronic deals. The latest iPhone 5 was out at the time and this dude in Akron, Ohio was selling it for 30% the retail price. Sounded too good to be true, but my brother contacted the seller anyways. He stated that he got them for free and wanted to sell them off because he needed the money. He asked my brother to meet up with him at a local frozen custard shop at 10 p.m. My brother showed up, but after noticing the vacant lot and pure darkness, my brother drove off. The seller called my brother instantly and stated that he saw my brother drive by, but needed my brother to enter the lot, and that's where the trade will be made. My brother drove back, and this time he can see the headlights on the seller's car cascading across the vacant parking lot. My brother called him back and stated that it was too dark and he didn't feel comfortable. After a bit of talking, they agreed to meet up at the closest McDonald's. My brother went there as fast as he could and entered McDonald's. My brother called the seller and told him to come inside to do the trade. The seller told my brother to meet up at the back parking lot of the McDonald's. At this point, my brother stated that he was no longer interested because it seems like the seller had other agendas. After ordering some food, my brother and my little cousin left McDonald's and proceeded to the car. Out of nowhere, this dude with a black mask strangles my little cousin and shouted at my brother, "Give me all your money or he dies." My little cousin cried, "Quick, give him all your money, I don't want to die." My brother left my little cousin and bolted back inside McDonald's. My brother called 911 and the employees locked all the doors. My little cousin was let off and he stayed by the door of McDonald's until the cops showed up. Seemed kind of messed up to leave a young child outside alone, but everyone was afraid of the gunman hiding and infiltrating the place. My family stopped using Craigslist after that. I sold the juicer on Craigslist and ended up dropping it off at this dude's house. The next day, I see a desk for sale that I want, so I inquire and it's the same dude. Weird coincidence. I go over and the desk is not the one pictured. It was a piece of crap that he had clearly cobbled together from scraps. The next day, I got a text from him wanting to know if I want to come over for a beer. I said no thanks. The next day, I found an ad for rims for my exact car, make and model of car. Same dude. I realized at this point that during the course of casual conversation, he was picking up on other things I said I wanted. So he was posting ads specifically for me to respond to, so I would come over and hang out. I decided it was a good time to change my number, the locks on my house, and swap the batteries in my stun gun. I was looking for a steering wheel for playing racing games on my computer. When I got to the seller's apartment, there were bags of trash piled up outside the door in the hallway, and I could hear yelling inside. A very young child opened the door. "Is Joseph here?" The kid said nothing but walked away from the door, leaving it open. Another door opened and out stepped a young man in his pajamas. He walked me into his trash room. I had to shuffle through clothing and belongings on the floor to reach the stained office chair. I told him I would take the unit, and he surprised me when he pulled the original box out of the closet and packaged everything up like it was brand new. The best part of the entire exchange was the argument between him and his mother over who was going to keep the money as I was leaving. I hope this video gave you the creeps, because I sure found it spooky. If you enjoyed watching, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more creepy stories. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.